So, we've recently seen the film Nepenthe. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience and tell us what it was you did?
I'm Jovi. I am the one-man crew behind Nepenthe. Writer, director, cinematographer, editor, sound design, if you can call it sound design.
That's funny because that was going to be my first question, was how big was your crew?
Yeah.
So you are the one-man band. How difficult or easy is that to do pretty much everything?
It's the only way I've really worked before. I've made, I think, 10 things in total, short films, music videos. I've done all of them one-man army style. Not because I hate people, but just because I just haven't learned to work in any other sort of way. Probably through lack of exposure on like kind of proper film sets in a way. Maybe it's stubbornness as well, trying to get my vision across. It's kind of easy, especially if you have no like expectation, which is what this was. This was just kind of an experiment for me. Got a new camera, wanted to use it, had an image in my mind that stuck for like a year, and so as long as I managed to capture that, it was pretty easy going. Yeah.
And so where did the title come from? Because obviously I've said to you, Nepenthe. And then Nepenthe. Where does that come from?
So I don't know much about the Odyssey. I should probably read it, but you know, Nolan's doing it, so why not? But I believe it's sort of like a medicine or a cure for grief that you use. Sort of in the story that you take it and grief gets banished from yourself.
Yeah.
And I think the title came to me quite late. I was trying to look for something that worked, that sounded cool. And I think it fits in nicely. I mean, it's hard to explain what the film is about, but for me, in a way, it's about kind of looking back at the past and destroying anything that you have a negative association with, and what do you lose in doing that, what do you gain in doing that, and where does that take you? So it kind of fits, I think.
And how are the guys at the Barbican to accommodate you?
Well, there's a guy. We found a secret-ish location. I think you're allowed to shoot in certain parts, but I'm not 100% sure. And we needed a chair. That was the initial goal, was to have a chair, which we didn't get. And there's like this little office with a man in there, security, I think. So I went in there and asked if he had a chair, just out of the blue, and he had no idea what was going on. And then I said, hey, can we just shoot here for like 10 minutes? I think we were probably there for like 2 hours. But he was like, yeah, I wouldn't tell anybody. But if you see security, leg it. And so I had to give him a shout out in the credits. I guess it wasn't a one-man crew, I guess it was technically two. He was our security.
Because I mean, obviously, it was one of the first things that struck out to me is obviously the location. Was that always an intentional location? And if it was, why?
Yeah, I shot there before for a few things. We did a music video with a band called Sharp Eyes, and we thought it'd be a good idea to take the whole drum kit and everything there and start playing it. Don't play the drum kit in the Barbican. The echo and the reverb is awful, and the police came. But I had this image in my mind after shooting that of somewhere in the Barbican or a factory or somewhere, sort of a cold space with some sort of strange objects in there. And it just kept coming back to me, and that shot in the Barbican is almost exactly how I saw it, and I knew that we had to get back there. And especially when you're shooting on no budget and you don't have any permits or anything, it's nice to find somewhere that has some character. There's lots of areas in London that do that, but I'd shot there before, so I knew I could kind of get away with it. So yeah, but I do love it there.
Is your original view on what the film was going to be what we see, or did you go down any sort of different passages with it?
I think it's mostly like a tonal exercise. I just wanted to capture a certain atmosphere, tone, and I think I managed to get that. At least for me, when I watch it, I kind of feel the feeling that I wanted to feel. I don't know if it fully translates. Hopefully, it does in some way. And there was a shot list and everything else, but because we only shot in 6 hours, just running around London with a camera, just kind of improvise. As long as it stayed consistent in the tone, then yeah.
And if money wasn't an object, What would your project be?
I have a story about an elevator repair technician, so stay tuned. It would be lovely to shoot that right now, but you know, how can I shoot in elevator shafts and repair on them without any budget? And it's like green screen it all, you never know. So I mean, yeah, that would be it. But I'm not really planning in that sort of way. I'm just kind of, I'm always focused on tone, and you don't need a budget to capture certain tone and experiment with tones, I don't think. And so right now, you know, I don't have any big budget grand ideas. I'm just sort of doing what I can, and you know, you can strike the same tone at £0 or like £10 million, you know. And as I said earlier, I think they're just experiments for me, and I'm happy just doing that. So for now, anyway. So.
Yeah. Do you talk to us about some of your past works? Are they in a similar vein, or have you mixed up what you've done over the passage of
your
time?
So my last proper short was 4 years ago, called Fortune, which is kind of like an homage to like silent film, but shot in a very modern way. So it's somewhere between silent film and you know, shooting on like a modern stabilizer and things like that. Again, one-man crew, 2 actresses, and visually kind of feels similar, but yeah, again, that was a tonal exercise. It was like, can I strike the tone and play it like homage to silent film? And then before that, yeah, my first ever one back in, I think 2018 we shot it, was running around with a £100 DSLR in a park, and it was about someone finding sticky notes of his past lover, and and it was way too long. But again, that was more of a homage to like 60s French new wave. So everything along the way has references. This one, I can't think of anything that it's paying homage to. I feel like I like to think it's somewhat unique. And yeah, so there aren't really any clear references in that. And I hope to walk that way again.
Okay. And what is next for you in terms of, I mean, you know, we know about the lift, but beyond, you know, what are you working on anything right now, or are you, you know, just planning towards something?
Again, I think I want to do 1 or 2 more of these kind of tonal ones where I'm just not thinking about it too much and just going for it, going instinctive. But I'm also aware that I need to get experience with people at some point and work with people and not be a complete film dictator, although it's not, because it's just me. So, yeah, I think now that I've got my own equipment, which I didn't have before, I can just go out whenever I want. I went to Oslo earlier this year to kind of scout out. I kind of want to do something that's a mix of documentary and fiction in Oslo, because I think Oslo is a very unique place, and it's really hard to describe, and that's why I'm going and why I'm trying to make this to work out what that feeling is I have about Oslo. So I think maybe that might be next. So,
yeah. No, I get that. Whenever I think of Oslo, I always think of there's like a, you know, I can describe it as like a giant gnome on a roundabout. Have you seen this?
No.
No. Well, you should hunt this down.
Okay.
You talk a lot about tonal, which makes me think: is there some sort of like catharsis in what you're creating? Is it you know? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. The best example I think I can give of how this is kind of personal, and this is, you know, just my take. I don't know if anyone else would see it this way, but I wanted to represent, similar to Nepenthe and the idea of destruction of grief. I thought about that in the modern way, and how sometimes these moods can overcome you where you're feeling nostalgic and you look back at kind of photos and videos on a phone or a laptop or whatever, and I don't know if it's just me, maybe other people have felt this, but like there's sometimes this urge just to destroy it, especially if you're not feeling too great in the moment and you're looking back on these nice things. You're like, what if I just destroy it and just shed that? And so for me, this is what would happen if that happened. And for me, the ending of the short is a kind of greater sense of like untethering from who you are by doing that, and the importance of actually looking back at that in a different sort of way. So yeah, you know, I think seeing what, like that desire act out on screen of destruction of these memories, it's important for me to see that and not actually have done it.
Yeah.
And so all the photos and videos are safe.
Do we have any questions out there? Very quiet audience. I guess the last question that I would have for you in that case is, how did you persuade your actress to get involved in this?
Yeah, so I put a listing on Mandy.com, and I mean, I got like 50 responses in like a day, even though I'm offering like not much of a budget. It was like £30 for 6 hours, because obviously I'm not trying to make money from this. And yeah, I had to go through all those people. There was some people with like, 100,000 Instagram followers applying and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is my big break. But then, yeah, Alyssa came up, and there was something in their face, something in their previous work that just, I thought was really kind of, it feels weird to call someone's face cinematic, but I just think their expressions, especially in this, like really anchor it. And
it's almost something, it's interesting because you talked earlier about Oslo, and there's almost something Scandic about the way she carries herself, and so
yeah, I think
there's an interesting tie.
There's a photographer that I came across when I was in Oslo, who talks about bringing your private space into the public, how everyone is like in Norway is like in this like kind of, sorry if there's any Norwegians watching this out there and I'm wrong, but like there's a sense of like they're very sure of themselves in a really nice positive way, and they go out into the world and they're kind of like in this short, I speak for the short anyway, like there's like a detachment, but like vulnerability at the same time. It's hard to describe. That's what I'm hoping to explore in the Oslo short. But yeah, I can see the connection. I think you're saying, yeah.
Brilliant. Can we give Jovi a big round of applause, please? Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.